So let's talk about the Facebook can and cannot rules. You want to pay close attention to this and you want to check back with the Facebook ad guidelines on a frequent basis. I usually check back, once or so a month just to see what kind of stuff they've updated. But this is important because this tells you what you can do and what you want to avoid doing so that you don't get banned. You definitely don't want to get your Facebook ad account banned. Otherwise, you won't be able to create any ads at all. So, to get to this page, the easiest way to do it is by going to Google and typing in Facebook advertising guidelines. Now, there's a lot of stuff about privacy laws and things like that, but the ones that you definitely want to pay close attention is the general section, which, as you can see, ads that are generated through posts or pages that promote sweepstakes, contests, competition must comply with these page terms. So there are other documents that you need to read if you have something like a contest, a sweepstake, or a competition. Ads must not contain false, misleading, fraudulent, deceptive claims. Now, while that might seem obvious, some of our statements that we make sometimes can be too hypey. So you don't want to appear too hypey. Now, the data and privacy is quite general. It's stuff like privacy laws and things like that. And back in the day with Facebook ads, you could really get away with stuff by targeting specific groups of people. Nowadays with Facebook ads, it's a little bit harder because, for example, as you can see under the attribution, you cannot really target in terms of ad text a race, religion, age, sexual orientation, sexual life, gender identity, or anything like that. Now, with images, on the other hand, images you can actually show a specific person, but obviously you will have to have access to that image through a royalty-free stock image site, which basically means you have rights to use that image. So you can get images from Big Stock Photo and sites like that. I'll actually show you all this information later on, but you want to make sure that you don't include anything like religion, age, or anything like that, because Facebook does not want to offend a specific group and get tons of spam complaints and things like that. So if you can lower that and keep it clean, keep it not offensive, and that this and that, then you'll be able to attract the right person without violating Facebook laws. So I'd highly recommend that you go through this, just get an understanding of the things you can and cannot do. And then we got the typical stuff like ad content. What types of content can you use and what kinds of content can you not use? Such as adult products, adult toys, adult videos, sexual enhancement products. But it tells you what stuff you can use. Alcohol, dating, different types of sexual dating sites are not permitted. Ads for other online dating services are only allowed with prior authorization. So that means you have to contact them. If you were, let's say, promoting something like eHarmony or some sort of clean dating site, you would still need to get authorization from Facebook. Now, if you do this, what I recommend that you do is actually set up your whole sales funnel so they have a better view of what your intentions are. If you go out and try to apply without showing them exactly what you're going to do, then your approval rate for that specific ad will be lower. Obviously, drugs and tobacco ads may not promote or facilitate the sale or consumption of illegal or recreational drugs, tobacco products, and so forth. Gambling and lotteries. Pharmaceutical or supplements. So if you were, let's say, for example, promoting how to lower cholesterol, Obviously, you cannot really talk about specific supplements and things like that within your Facebook ad. But what you can do is drive them straight to your Facebook fan page. And from that point, you can talk about, different things on your Facebook fan page. But what they're talking about here is don't talk about it on the Facebook ad, because the Facebook ad shows up in front of people's faces. So if it is offensive and things like that, then Facebook will get a lot of complaints, and they just don't want to deal with all those complaints. So just think about that. Software, different types of software cannot be sold because they don't want to deal with spyware or malware downloads. Obviously, in this case, people have abused the system in the past, and because there are bad apples in the system, they make it hard for you. Subscription services, ads for subscription services, or that promote products and services that include negative options, automatic renewal, basically monthly membership sites and things like that, are subject to the following requirements. So you can do it, as you can see, but there are requirements that you have to follow. So if you do need to get prior authorization, make sure you have everything set up so that you can show them. You got unaccepted business models, weapons and explosives, a lot of pretty much common stuff that are not allowed on a lot of other social media sites, like illegal activity, which is fairly common, sense, harassment, hate speech, minors, sex nudity, shock value, and so forth. But I'd highly recommend that you just take a look and get an idea of what you want to promote and see if what you want to promote is on that page. Now you have a good idea of what you can and cannot do, or especially cannots. Let's talk about ad images, because you need to know, okay, in terms of text, I understand what I can do and what I cannot do, but what about ads? So this kind of brings us to the what can you do, but what should you do in terms of ads. As you can see here, it says for all ads, the best size image to upload is 1200 by 627 pixels. So if you want to make sure that your image can be seen really, really well, make sure that you follow their guidelines, because the worst case scenario, you upload an image and it's blurry and it's something that is hard to see and it gives a misrepresentation of your fan page. That's not a good thing. So make sure you follow that closely. It says, do you need to include an image in your ad? All Facebook ads need to have an image. If you don't have an image, that's fine. I'm going to show you where you can get an ad image and use it legally. And in the ad image itself, you should be able to do different things, but in terms of what you cannot and cannot do, you definitely want to avoid certain things like this. Images that you can't use, as you can see here, ads and sponsored stories and news feeds may not include images comprised of more than 20% text. So what we found, though, is images that really appeal to that specific audience is good, and then use your text as your text. And so separate the image and the text. So now that you know the cans and cannots, let's move on and start gathering the information for your ad so that we can begin to set things up.